Welcome, everybody. Hello. Happy December 9th already. Hope you guys are well on your way to getting your all your Christmas tasks done. I don't know about you guys, but I've got a pretty crazy social schedule, none of which I have scheduled, all of which has been scheduled for me. My wife is way more social than I am, so all of our social stuff seems to be surrounded around things that she has scheduled. But be that as it may, this is my favorite time of year. I absolutely love Christmas. So I'm excited here. I've got grown ass kids, and they are, you'd think they were 8 and 10 the way they act about Christmas. They just, it's their favorite time of the year as well. Um, they're both very traditional with Christmas because we keep saying, hey, let's instead of spending money on, we're not buying you kids toys. I mean, let's go somewhere fabulous as a family. Absolutely not. Nope, nope, nope. We're going to all be together. We're going to open our presents, and then on Christmas morning. So that's what we got going here,
I
man.
was trying to sell that too. I didn't get any bites.
You didn't get any bites. Isn't that
No.
funny?
I was
Yeah.
even saying to them, experiences over objects. I didn't get any.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They,
Experiences over
I
objects is
think
a
they,
great way to say
I
that.
think they still want their objects, Kevin.
Still want their objects. Yeah. There's something sentimental about just being opening presents, being at your parents' house. I know I somebody else coming in. Um, I know that we did Christmas morning at my mom's house after I was married. uh, when we had our first kid, because I can remember him being an infant and us going to mom's on Christmas morning. In fact, we would sleep over there on Christmas Eve some nights. So it took a long time before, me as a grown adult decided, okay, I have my own tradition now. But yeah, I'm digging the season. It's quite festive. All right, well, let's jump in. I'd love to start with some wins. Who's got a win from last week? Big, small, in between.
I'm taking the 10, 20, 30 challenge as a win. I've been
Right
able to
on. All
get it
right,
done every day
you're
since,
getting it
so
done. Good. All right,
I'm
well,
getting it done. Yeah.
love it.
So I'm squeezing it in. So
Squeezing it in. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's a great. I love, like I said, we did a couple of months ago in one of my other groups. We did a similar challenge, and it was surprising to me how, because I thought, no, I'm in the gym all the time. I work from home. Why can't I can knock out some push-ups, sit-ups, and squats anytime. And I found myself at the end of the day sometimes like having to do it all before bed. I was like, damn, I didn't get around to doing any of this. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying that. Good way to
I,
have that consistent movement.
I found that it's a good way to use as a warm up or a finisher for my
Boom.
yeah,
Yes,
workouts.
sir. Yep.
yeah.
So, yep.
Yep. On gym days, it fits right in. It's the other days that you got to figure out a way to work it in.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? Who else got to win?
At the gym today, I was listening to a podcast with Max Lugavere and Sal DiStefano,
Oh, okay. Yep.
and they were talking about how you view food, how you view food, and it kind of clicked that over the last 12 weeks, I've started to look at how I eat and what I have in my house much different than I did prior to joining the group. And I kind of felt that was a win, that it's kind of put me on a path of eating properly.
Yeah, man, I love that. What a terrific win. That shift in your basically your relationship with food. I think most of us really we don't think about food. I mean, we know that Twinkies aren't healthy, right? We know that beer is not good for us, and we know that salads are healthy. But other than that, I think we're very disconnected from food. Once upon a time, we would have had a much more sacred, closer connection to the food we ate, frankly, because we would have been closer to the food source. Most of us would have grown up in agriculture environments or closer to agriculture environments. And now, you have inner city kids that have no idea where, what vegetables look like or where they come from. And, the potatoes grow underground and they don't come off trees, for example. So yeah, I think that just in general, looking at food kind of the way uh, Dr. Casey Means talks about food, right? Just, hey, food is a sacred fuel that's not just going to help you, quote unquote, lose weight, but is going to power. every single cell in your body. It's literally becoming you. And when you think about it that way, it is a different way of looking at your cabinet and looking what's in there, isn't it?
I think what helps me with that is I try to remember in my head a good line is food is not entertainment.
Food is not entertainment. Yeah.
For me, I especially, and I'm not saying I don't celebrate with food around the holidays, but on the daily, I don't want to look at food as an entertainment piece or something to do when I'm bored.
Right. Right. Yeah. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Yeah. We
Yeah.
talk all the time
I've
about
got
that.
much better.
Go ahead, Karen. Who was that?
Sorry, right.
Go
I
ahead.
find it's Karen. I find I've got much better. I tend to, I'd be halfway through eating something before I've even consciously thought that I'm
Mhm.
eating it. Whereas I'm slowly starting to go, now hang on, do I really want that? No. My
Yeah.
problem is I manage a lodge, an accommodation thing. So I don't have very many food choices. So what they buy in, and we're at 2 hours from the nearest shop.
I remember you
So
saying
my
that.
healthy
Yeah.
food range is steak and salad. And
Yeah.
that's about the healthiest I can get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, let's think about salad, but at least I'm thinking before I put it in my mouth,
Great.
which is a
Absolutely
big,
love it.
huge win, I think.
It is a big, huge win. Absolutely. Yeah, I can remember old Kevin would be just standing in the pantry eating some chips, trying to decide whether or not I wanted some chips, right? Or crackers or cookies or just that mindless or emotional type eating. And if you remember, we talk all the time about our Silver Edge nutrition pyramid. And at the base, the most important thing you can do, whether your goal is fat loss or health or muscle building, whatever it is what you eat. But the next most important thing is how you eat. And that's what you guys are describing, this relationship with food, how you view food, slowing down, being intentional about your food is really important. And here's the trick, right? If you figure out how to manage what you eat, meaning a high protein diet, mostly whole real foods, and you have a healthy relationship with food, how much you eat really starts to take care of itself. Not all the way, maybe not 100%, but you're 80% of the way there. I mean, you have really won most of the battle. And then we can start talking about, okay, should we be at maintenance? Should we be bulking or in a reverse diet? Should we be, in a calorie deficit? But not until we get those other things fixed, I think, personally. So
I think the hardest thing though, Kevin, is what you said when you are in that pantry at night and what time is it? So I've been trying to think about my behavior. Like when do I want to go in that snack drawer? When do I open up the freezer and I see that ice cream, right? And then I think, why am I here? And I will tell you, I think the answer is I'm bored. I don't think I'm hungry. So then if I'm bored, what can I replace that behavior with? Because I want to build the habit, because I think maybe breaking a habit isn't real, but building a habit is. So what would I do? I don't have the answer to that question, but I'm just saying that when I see that ice cream and I think it's because I'm bored, then what am I going to do instead?
Yeah, so this is going to be that exact scenario you just described is going to come up next month because our book club or book of the month book club for next month is going to be Atomic Habits. So what you're talking about, building new habits, we're going to talk about that all month in January. So if you haven't already ordered that book, everybody make sure you get that book ordered, give it to yourself for Christmas. But that's going to be our book club next weekend or next month. And that is a deep dive into the psychology of building habits. So you're exactly right. But that's, the most of us know what healthy food is and what unhealthy food is, certainly in this group, right? You folks do. And I don't think that knowledge is the problem. The problem is the emotions, right? When I'm anxious or I'm bored, those are my two triggers that the food I crave is not chicken breast and broccoli. It's not in that state, right? Let's acknowledge that. And there's actually a physiological reason for that. When you are stressed, what your biology wants is the quickest form of energy there is, which is glucose, which you're not getting glucose from a steak, right? Or you're going to get a little bit from your kale salad, not a lot, but you would say from fruit ancestrally. But now that craving, it's not fruit, it's the ice cream drawer that you're talking about. So, yeah.
I think the key though is like, how do you know you're bored? Like, I know that sounds like a crazy question. I know when I'm stressed. I know
Yeah.
when I'm stressed. I know when I'm emotionally eating, but bored, I don't think
That's a
I
tricky
realized
one.
that until this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think about, are you bored? I don't know. I don't
That's a
think
big
about that.
big trigger for me. Yes. Yeah. Being bored is certainly one of the big triggers. And, you know, like any coping mechanism for emotion, whether that's boredom or anxiousness or depression, all of those stress, all of those things. Let's just stick with food since that's the subject here, but it could be, it could be drinking, it could be anything. Those coping mechanisms are there because they work. They fill a void. So to your point, Patty, it's like, okay, what do I replace it with? Because you're exactly right. You have to replace it with something. Because if you just say I'm going to use willpower and just not, okay, when I'm stressed, I'm just not going to reach for the ice cream. That's going to work for the first month of January as your New Year's resolution. But guess what? In February, March, that doesn't work so good anymore. Because, in my analogy I like to use, you're gonna wheel your little discipline willpower bucket down into the well, and you're gonna hear it clank, hit the bottom of the dry well because there's no more discipline in there because you used it all up. So we have to have these other systems. We have to replace it with something. So yeah, we'll definitely be digging into some of that next month. That's good food for thought, so to speak. Oh, okay. So while we're talking about ice cream, I did want to share this with you. Let me pull this up here. Where did I put that? I somehow this found me on Facebook or Instagram. There's this company called Ice Cream for Bears, and their advertisement is, "Hey, there is only real whole foods in this. This is unlike any ice cream you've ever found." So me being A, an ice cream lover, and B, being interested. Okay, that's healthy ice cream. I've been sold that before, haven't found it yet, but would like to. I clicked on it and it's amazing. So I just now tried it, like as in yesterday, because it just happened to be in my store. And I was like, oh, there's that ice cream for bears that keeps popping up in my feed. And I've got them pulled up here. So it looks like I've only tried a couple flavors, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, they got a bunch of flavors. But here's what's cool. For example, the one I had yesterday was called Honey Honey. So it's honey swirled. Here are the ingredients: milk, cream, raw honey, skim milk, egg yolk. That's it. Now, it is delicious. I will tell you that. And let me just expand. Yeah, I can make this bigger. So a serving is 310 calories. So it's not a light treat, but it's delicious. And it's not really just because there's no added, well, there is added sugar because it's honey, but there is, in one serving, there's 26, right? Yeah, 26 grams of sugar, because obviously it's honey. So as it turns out, all of the Just Bears thing is the only sweetener they use in any of them is honey. So as I was kind of clicking through this and looking up some of their other flavors, I was really impressed with their ingredients because, for example, they have a Roar-Ang, ROAR-ANG, like orange, get it? Cream, so it's an orange cream ice cream. It's milk, cream, raw honey, skim milk, orange juice concentrate, egg yolk, pure vanilla extract, pure orange oil. That's it. So no preservatives, no emulsifiers, none of the things you would normally think you would see in an ice cream. Anyway, I didn't mean to make today's
Sadly,
meeting.
we do have
Now all I want is
commercial,
ice
but
cream.
what's that?
Now all I want to
We
eat is
have-
ice cream.
Yeah.
I
We
keep
don't get
telling
any
you,
of that. I listen to the things that you guys have, and it's like, oh, I can't get that in
Can't
Australia.
get that in Australia. I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
reach out to those guys. Tell them they need to get on the ball. Let's go. There's
get
global
out of here.
demand for this kind of ice cream. But yeah, I've been talking about getting one of those creamy Ninja creamy things. I think Joe,
I keep telling you.
that's why I want to get one. You and another one of my clients is talking about all the time, makes the best homemade ice cream. I'm like, I love ice cream, but I just don't want the store-bought crap because I don't want the crap that's in it. And I don't need it to be overpoweringly sweet. In fact, I don't want it to be overpoweringly sweet.
The only thing that is the protein powder I use has whatever they
Right.
put in
Stevia,
there.
monk fruit, something. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yep.
Some of them do use sucralose, but but
Mhm.
you can use whatever you want, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I add 10 grams of either monk fruit or allulose, and because the freezing process takes some of the sweetness away, but and that's reducing it from what I used to use. I used to use like 20 or 30. And besides that, that's it. Mine's just basically milk. of your choice, a scoop of protein powder, the 10 grams of sweetener, 1 gram of xanthan gum I get to just help with the iciness. And then I add cottage cheese, but you don't even need
Nice.
that per
Yeah,
se.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Well,
and
anyway, yeah.
uh,
So
yeah.
you can either make your own healthy ice cream and look, I don't want to advertise
Yeah.
this as healthy ice cream. Let's just call it healthier than the Ben and Jerry's or the Breyers or whatever else you see in there. So I don't want to make any, this wouldn't be a good substitute for dinner, for example. But it is if you're going to have a nice little treat, and if you're somebody like me that enjoys occasional ice cream, that's a good one. I was impressed with their ingredients. All right. Anybody else on wins? I guess my win is I found ice cream for bears in my local store.
I did my hike that I put in the map thing. I did two now, one each week, a 6 hour hike, which I could not have done 2 months ago in a million years.
Fantastic.
And it's hot here. I mean, we're doing 38, 39 degrees and bushfires everywhere, as we do
Mm.
at this time of year. But that's been great. And I felt really good the day after. And I went, right, I'm back into this now. So back
Back
out in
into
the
this
bush
now.
and
Yeah.
hiking, and
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah. Yeah.
I love hearing that because a lot of times, that gets missed when we think, most of us start this journey because some sort of body insecurity. I want to lose weight or I want to get fit, I want to get in shape. But really, being strong and fit and capable opens up. I like to say the world gets larger as you get fitter. You can do stuff, you can do more stuff, and you can do it capably, and you can do it, hopefully with a much lower risk of injury. So yeah, I think it's wonderful that you're able to express your health and your fitness in that way in these long hikes and feel good about it. Love that. What else we got? Oh, I was supposed to tell you at the beginning. Monica says hello. She had some kind of car thing that she was doing today, so that's why there's no Monica with us today. Um, who's stuck? Who's got questions? Who's not sure what happens next? Joe, hit me. What you got?
Mine's a two-parter, one's semi-self-inflicted.
Okay.
I dropped a 70-pound dumbbell on my chest, so my
Ooh.
ribs kind of hurt at the moment.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
I can do most exercises. Push-ups were I've been somewhat of a challenge, and I couldn't do band squats this morning. It was the sharp whatever. So suggestions on what to do when you're dealing with I'll call it discomfort.
Yeah. So do you know if you cracked ribs or not?
No, I don't have any bruising. I can breathe
Okay.
normally and
Okay.
everything. I didn't even go to the doctor. So
If you press on it, is it tender?
no.
But when you get in a range of
Yeah,
motion,
like
that's more what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. My advice is you probably see this coming, but it's just to back off and let pain be your guide. If you're not injured but sore, you just, let your ego take a hit, and instead of the 70 pounds, grab the 40 pounds, right? Or you grab something lighter, just find what feels right. But it's your opportunity also to really work on body awareness and muscle activation, that mind muscle connection, and being really, really nerdy about form. For example, in a push-up or a bench press, we want those shoulders back and squeezed in. We want to activate these muscles here, the pec, and that could be tough in a push-up, or because that's a tough one for people a lot of time to really trigger because that's what should move that movement, as opposed to shoulders or arms, which are supporting roles or should be supporting roles. So a good chance for you just to work more on form, work on mind muscle connection, but just ease your way back and of course, if that pain persists, then it's probably time for a trip to get x-rayed. I think with cracked ribs, I know with cracked ribs, they just say, hey, sorry, not much they do. I don't know if you've actually broken them, that they have to do something else, but yeah.
I've watched the NFL long enough to know that they if the
Yeah,
guy
it's
cracks
just
the
get
ribs,
back out there. Yeah,
they put a flak jacket on him
Yeah,
so
right.
protect it. But I mean, what can they do? It's not like they can put a cast on you.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah. All right. Do you have another part? Was that a two-parter?
Yeah, the second part is I'm still in this lean bulk stage. I'm starting to get, I don't want to call it calorie fatigue or something like that, but I'm just not. I guess I'm not feeling it at the moment, which is odd because you're like, oh, I can eat 2,900 calories and I can eat all the stuff that most people
Yeah.
can't. I can
Yeah.
have Oreos, but anyway, yeah, I don't know what your advice would be for that. If I should just take, I mean, obviously I'm not going into a cut at with Christmas coming up because that would be
Sure.
stupid.
Two
But yeah,
pieces,
what,
yeah, two pieces of advice. One is just take a break, take a diet break, take a week where you just cut back 300 calories or whatever, right? Um, Second piece of advice is drink more calories. So a lot of times, especially it's usually guys, right? Because we don't, a lot of ladies don't like to put, we're more conservative oftentimes with ladies because they don't, the feeling of being over full and the psychology of trying to lose weight usually doesn't go together very well. But in either case, if we drink more calories, so look at ways you can make a calorie dense smoothie. You had mentioned throwing, I think, cottage cheese in your ice cream. That would be another thing. Like, hey, I'm going to have some scrambled eggs for breakfast. Well, let me throw a half a cup of cottage cheese in with that. But if I were making a smoothie, I could put Greek yogurt, I could put cottage cheese, I could put peanut butter or almond butter or any nut butter in there. So I'd use whole milk as opposed to skim milk, things like that. So either one of those, I think, would be fine for where you are right now and your goals, right? I'm imagining that's going to be muscle building. So taking a break, absolutely. And then just bringing yourself back up would be one alternative. The other would be, hey, if you're just having a hard time getting that many calories down, try like that, add a super shake in on top of what you're doing that's just really calorie dense. You could always add some of that Barefoot ice cream. That was what I say, it was 310 calories per serving. And throw one of those in every night, right?
I don't have problems getting the calories in for the most part. It's more like that. I don't know. I'll call it bloated feeling
But just
or
feeling
those.
bloated, and just feeling
Yeah,
full all the
or
time.
fullness. I mean, I think part of it's due to the holiday eating too, so maybe that would,
Different food
even
choices.
though I didn't go crazy
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving or an event I attended or anything like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
in that case, look, taking a week where you just lower your calories for a week, kind of reset that gut, it's not going to affect it. No, I mean, not appreciably affect a strength goal, right? In the long haul.
that was it. Thank you.
Yep. No, good deal. Another thing that you might try, I played around with these and found absolutely zero difference, but there are digestive enzymes that, different companies make digestive enzymes to kind of for specifically to help for any feelings of bloating, and they're supposed to go down there and help kind of clean up things. I didn't find there was I didn't have any, an N equals one study. And I was feeling bloated years ago, but I ordered some digestive enzymes, took them, and didn't notice a difference in how I felt. But there are obviously people that do, so it's another thing you might want to try. Who else has got a question? Yeah, Mike, hit me.
Yeah, so at our gym again, we don't have any Olympic bars, and so with the bench press, I've actually reached the limit of what
Right on.
fixed bars they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
there.
good for you. Yeah,
So yeah, that's exciting.
yeah.
But my question is so if I were to continue to progress, is it better to go to dumbbells for the bench press or to the the chest machine that they do have in the gym? So what's better? Still stay with free weights if I can handle the load, or go? I mean, is there something with that particular position that's specific to that exercise that you're programming in?
Yes. So I'm going to say this with the caveat that we're kind of splitting hairs, but I feel strongly that you would go with the dumbbells as
Okay.
opposed to the chest press machine. Not throwing any shade on the chest press machine, but we've got you in that seated position with a defined um, bar path, which is okay at
Mm.
best. Whereas you flat on a bench or on an incline, however you're doing it, with the dumbbell in each hand, I think you're going to get way more bang for your buck when it comes to that. But again, take that with a grain of salt because the degree of difference that's going to make in your physique and in your strength journey is really pretty small. But you're going to get more of the um, support muscles, those activated as you're doing, a free weight as you would be, again, if you're in a defined range of motion type machine. Nothing wrong with machines, and you can still get strong and buff and all of that stuff with machines. There's a time and place for them. I program machines for myself from time to time. However, when we talk about functional strength training, we want to be, you want to be free in space as opposed to in a defined path as much as possible.
So now with that in mind, then say there's a weight that I'm just trying to get 3 reps out of, so it's heavy. What's a safe way for me to sit? And I'm not, this isn't to counter, I just
Nope, that's a great question though. Yeah, because I'm probably going to change my answer on this a little bit.
What's the motion? Do I sit down with it and then lay down?
You're going to sit with it. You're going to sit with them on your knees, and as you come back, you're going to take that right knee probably and hike it, and then you take that left knee and you're going to hike it, but you're already back. And the other thing is you're going to have somebody behind you who to spot, because what's probably going to happen if we're heavy enough for that 3 is our rep range, especially with dumbbells, you're going to be starting from here. You're going to be pinned, and getting from here to here is probably not possible. So you're going to need somebody underneath there to just with their hands, even just this much motion is going to help you at least get into your position. The other problem with super heavy dumbbells where we're hiking them up like this as we go back is, remember, in a bench press, we always think shoulders up, back, down, and in, and they're pinched, and they don't move. So when I do my bench press, I'm not doing this. My shoulder isn't traveling forward, but it's locked. So much shorter range of motion here than here. In my long arms, that's another 6 inches of travel. So we compromise potentially that position as we're logging back. So if you're doing heavy 3, actually a chest press machine might be better from a safety perspective. So if I'm really maxing, going really heavy on 3, unless you've got somebody who's comfortable and you're comfortable with them to spot you, they can actually help you get the weights in place. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was hoping that dumbbell was the direction, but I get what you're saying. It kind of it depends.
Yeah.
So then, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing is, let's say if you maxed out on the 80-pound bar, I don't know what it is, whatever and you're saying, okay, I'll just go over and grab, the 45 and 45, you're going to find that a dumbbell bench press is more difficult than a barbell bench press. So start with a little lighter weight and just kind of feel what feels correct for you.
Good point.
Yep.
And then in the Everfit app, so there's that option to pick a different exercise. So let's just say it's a barbell press, and I pick another exercise that says dumbbell chest press. Does that stay just for that session, or does that
you'll have to change it each time?
That does it stay as the exercise? Okay.
Yeah, you have to change it every time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Who else has got a question? Let's see. I think in the forum, let me find this. We had a couple questions. Here we go. All right, Susan, I'm assuming you're going to be watching this then on the replay. Susan says, 1, can extra weight and body fat be grouped together? Sorry, Susan, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Number 2, is a cut, number 2, is a cut necessary to lose weight if you are losing fat in a reverse diet or maintenance? So this is a great question. Okay, so some of you, not all of you, but especially people that don't have a history with strength training, and they're maybe deconditioned and new to training, you may find that as you are reverse dieting, so in other words, as you are eating more calories this week and then next week eating a little bit more calories, and you're also starting a strength training program, you may actually see the scale go down. You may see the scale stay the same while you're eating more food, but your waist starts to get smaller. So what's happening here is what we call body recomposition. You are actually building muscle and you are burning fat simultaneously. Really, really difficult to do in highly trained individuals. That's why there's, in this concept of bodybuilding, for example, you're either bulking or you're maintenance or you're cutting. You're never really but you're always doing one of those things. For normal real life, right? We talk about just kind of reverse dieting more for um, more for optimizing your metabolism. But if there's the direct answer to that question is no, there's no need to go into into an actual fat loss phase or a diet or a cut. If you are happy with your progress, in other words, you're getting stronger, your physique is changing in the way you want it to change. So really that's becomes a very, very personal thing. A lot of times what will happen is somebody will come into the program, they'll say, hey, I weigh, I don't know, I weigh 200 pounds, but I want to weigh 170 pounds. And what will happen is 3, 4 months in, they'll go, oh, maybe I don't want to weigh 170 pounds. I know one of my favorite examples to use is my boy David. He was one of my early clients. He came in, he was a yoga guy, he was a cycler, not a like a hardcore cycler, but he would ride his bike for 2 hours a day or something crazy like that. Pretty sedentary otherwise, and he was eating darn near vegetarian. And his goal was to had just a little bit of weight to lose. I think he wanted to lose like 15 pounds because he had a physical, an annual physical coming up, and he was 15 pounds heavier than last year's physical, and he wanted to be that same weight because he had a good physical checkup last time he went in. So, long story short, he does the whole MyFitnessPal. I look at his food logs. I'm going, holy crap, dude! He's eating like 1,450 calories a day. That was his average, and most of it was like salads and beans and some kind of crazy rainforest juice supplement thing. I was like, dude, I'm mostly vegetarian again. I was like, why don't you eat meat? And he's like, well, I'm trying to be healthy. I eat salmon. I eat salmon sometime every once in a while. We cheat on the diet. I'm like, are you are you against eating steak? And he's like, oh no, I love steak. I said, well, let's start eating some meat. Long story short, we started to build him up in calories. We stopped all the goofy bike because he's doing a lot of biking, and said, hey, do yoga as much as you want, but I want you to get to the gym 3 days a week. So I can't remember his weight goals. I think he wanted to weigh 165 maybe, and he was like I can't remember. At any rate, he's like 15 pounds heavier today than when he started, and the dude is just jacked. He's amazing. But what he found was, as he started this journey, was that the weight on the scale was not what he wanted. He thought that's what he wanted because that's what he weighed last year, and he thought he was pretty healthy at his check-in. But as he started the program, started eating a little bit more food, started strength training, he started noticing muscles. He's like, hey, I kind of like this. He ended up putting on significant weight. And we have females do the same thing, right? They come in and go, let's say I weigh 180 pounds or I weigh 170 pounds. I want to weigh 100 and if I could just get under 150, I haven't been there in decades, right? And what will happen is a few months in, they'll say, well, maybe 150 isn't the number. Because again, if you're adding muscle mass, you're adding weight. And if you're losing fat, you're losing weight. But if you're doing that simultaneously, the scale is not really telling us a whole lot of information there, right? So, no, to answer your question, a cut is not necessary to lose weight if you are satisfied with your progress in maintenance or even in a reverse diet. Know that if you're somebody who is losing weight or losing fat during a reverse diet, enjoy that. That doesn't last forever. It's really, really like for me to lose fat while I reverse diet would probably be physiological impossible. It's probably not going to happen. However, the very first time I did, what a lot of you guys are doing is clean up my diet, eat some more protein, and start to strength train, I probably did do that. So, which segues into her next question. Says, I know that muscle weighs more than fat, but how much more? So look, a pound of fat and a pound of muscle they each weigh a pound. They weigh the same thing. I wish I had models. I've seen the cool models of a kilogram of fat and a kilogram of muscle looks like. But basically, in general, fat is about a third more volume than muscle. So if you imagine a pound of muscle looks like this, well, a pound of fat looks like this. It's bigger. So as we build muscle and lose fat, that's really what we're seeing in our body changing, is the fat is much more, has more volume. So when I lose a pound of fat but gain a pound of muscle, the muscle is about 2/3 of the fat, if that makes sense, right? So it's just it's a bigger object if we're looking comparing a pound to pound. So Susan, I hope that helps. I'm sorry on that first question about the extra weight and body fat being grouped together. Hit me up and I'll answer that if I get a little more information from you there. Jennifer, what you got? Hit me.
I don't know why that makes me laugh when you say that. My question is, I'm confused about what my goal weight is. And you just talked about that. Like, I have never been lightweight ever, even when I was very skinny from, illness and stuff. So I don't even know what my goal weight should be. So is that irrelevant?
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to say. I was going to say, I love that. I love that you did. And most of us shouldn't care what the number on the scale says, especially in this group. Now, look, if you're morbidly obese, you should care what the scale says because but that's not who we work with in this group, right? Other than that, I can tell you this, all of us coaches inside the Silver Edge, we don't care what your scale says. We only care in so much as you care. That's the only reason we care about numbers at all. Most of you probably have a number in your head. I love that you are like, I don't really have a goal weight. I don't know what it should be. Look, you should be strong, fit, capable, and confident. You should feel good about yourself. You should feel good about your body. You should be able to do stuff. That's really the metric. That number on the scale is pretty darn arbitrary, as we've just kind of talked about. Hey, you can trade 5 pounds of muscle, 5 pounds of fat, and you're going to look and feel dramatically different. The scale hasn't budged, right?
Well, the scale is going up. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I'm eating more.
Okay.
I can guarantee I'm stronger.
Yep.
I've got a buttocks. My gluteus, I'm like, I've never had a tush before. So I was like, wow,
Okay.
how'd that happen? But I
Yeah.
like it. I think
Yeah.
it's from squats and stuff. So I'm going somewhere.
Right.
But my weight's going up. So I'm like, but I feel better than I ever have. Like, I don't feel hollow. When I was very skinny, I would think I didn't eat at all. I was very hollow feeling. I don't want to ever feel like that again. So yeah. So I just was wondering, so just take photos and go by what the photos is
100%.
and
Yeah. How you
okay.
feel. It also depends, what are your goals, right? I mean, you've got a powerlifting daughter. Maybe you want to get strong. If you want to get strong, you're gonna have to be in a small calorie surplus, and you're gonna have to work on that progressive overload. So if your goal is to get stronger and to, maximize the gluteus, then have at it. Go for it. If it's
Well, that wasn't my
your
goal.
goal. It's just what happened.
Exactly.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
goal is
Go ahead.
my goal is just to be well, you have those two twins. I don't even know what they're called anymore. Phil and what is his brother?
Yeah, Phil and what was it? Phil and Wellness,
I don't
Wellness
know.
Will and
Yeah, I don't want.
Phil,
I just
but
want to be. Yeah, I just want to be the healthy version of me that I can be, and I have scoliosis, so I would like to be able to walk upstairs and do all those things and keep my job as long as I possibly can because I like to work. So those are my goals. My goal was to have less back pain. Do I have less back pain? I don't know. Like, I can't decide that one.
Okay.
But that would be my ultimate goal. And my daughter says to me, Mom, it's not about how your body looks, about what you can do. She said, you can sit on the floor and squat and stuff. Most people your age can't. And I'm like, well, is that a measurement? I don't know.
That's definitely a measurement. I would say that's a measurement. We'll leave that to you. Look, I would say that you want to, the real trick here is how do we fuel ourselves to meet our goals without adding extra body fat? So especially those of us that are reverse dieting, bulking, and metabolic optimization phases, the real trick is to eat enough to support what it is you're doing, the gym, the walks, the everyday cellular functions of your body. All that requires caloric load. The trick is to eat the right amount that allows you to build muscle and to be able to do stuff without adding on additional body fat. So I would say then, Jennifer, in your case, you're definitely getting stronger. So that's a very good indication. You're feeling good. You're feeling capable. You're feeling confident. It sounds like you're on the right track. I would just monitor via pictures. You could, if you wanted to invest in something like a Hume body pod, They have it's kind of like the in-body scanner that you would see in a commercial gym, only it's a couple $100 as opposed to $10,000. That does a really good job of measuring body fat, and you could track that over time as a metric if you wanted to. But really, I think it's more what do you want? What do I want? If I have a specific aesthetic I'm looking for, in other words, I want a slimmer waist, or I want some rounder arms, or for the ladies, I want to tone up underneath here. If you have specific goals, let's work towards those. If your goal is just what you mentioned, hey, I just want to be able to, walk upstairs without being winded, get up and down off the floor, be strong and capable, you're on the right track, it sounds like.
Okay, so I was just curious. So when they say she needs as much protein for 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight you want to be. What if I don't know what that?
Okay, so yeah,
I don't know.
Look, in that case, and that number's it's very arbitrary. Let's call it what it is. But it's a nice round number, and it's way more than everybody's eating, so it's a good goal. So when we say 1 pound of protein per 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, that comes from a pretty well documented study that says for resistance trained individuals, I think this is over 40, not over 50, but older people, to build muscle, the ideal amount of protein was from 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So that's the full range, 0.7 to 1 gram. We always say 1 gram because it's way easier than trying, 0.7 to, and then now we're breaking out calculators. The exact number's probably not important. What is important is that the amount is right and comfortable for you. So if you're eating 150 grams of protein and you're progressing and everything's going great, don't change anything. If you're eating 125 and that feels great. And I'm a big fan of self-experimentation. So if you're only eating 100, you're probably under-eating it. If you're eating 200 grams a day, you're probably closer to carnivore than diet. That's probably a lot. But figure out what you feel comfortable with and what works for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I love that, Jennifer. That's exactly like me, where I don't know where I want to be. I don't know what I need to be, but I want to feel better and be able to do things. And that's definitely, I discovered the other day doing one of my new little goal. I discovered doing one of the exercise ones. I can't hop on my right leg. It was doing the balance one. I can hop on my left leg. My right leg is just shot to pieces. So there's my new goal, is to be able to get that strength in that leg to be able to do hops down the room.
Yeah.
So little things like that are great to hang on to. So well done, Jennifer. That's great. That is good.
I definitely have much better balance on my left leg than my right leg. It makes no sense to me whatsoever, but
you're right side dominant.
Yeah, it's completely true.
Yeah. And look, balance is something, again, shame on me. We should talk more about balance and mobility and coordination, because these things are really, really important. So even little things like, this is a standing desk, and when I have it standing, a lot of times I'll work standing on one foot. I'll switch foot from other times. I'll be on one foot and do calf raises. So kind of tricky. I will brush my teeth on one foot and kind of alternate feet. So you can play with balance. Which I think everybody should, because all of us, we had way better balance when we were youngins than we do now, unless you're somebody who actually actively works on it. It's not something, it's again, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. And balance is definitely one of those things. Alrighty, guys, what else? Alrighty then. Mike, you got one?
Well, I'm just saying, I missed the Monday Mile.
There was no Monday. No Monday Mile last week.
I
didn't know if anybody's going to notice that or not. Yeah, things got a little hectic here. I got behind as opposed to trying to cram one in. Normally, just so you've got to pull back the curtains. Usually, these things are done weeks, sometimes months in advance. Like for example, I've got interviews recorded that won't come out until January. On the Monday Miles, I got behind. That's what happened. So next Monday's already recorded. So we have one tomorrow, Monday, next Wednesday. So yeah, we'll be back with Monday Mile or podcast episodes on Mondays.
I blame the worms. The
Blame
worms.
the worms. All right. Yeah. No, I need to use that. That's right. That
They
could
were
be my
making it
excuse.
happen, man.
Yeah. The worms took over. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Mike, I just listened to the Worm podcast, and I will admit I'm greatly disturbed. Like I don't even know how to process all this information.
Right.
It just
Worms. Mm.
when she said it
Well,
came out of her feet, I like that was
Yeah. Out of
I
a
almost
feed.
had to turn it
freaked
off
me
at
out.
that point. That was just way too much
Mm,
for me.
So that was,
mm,
so those of you who haven't
mm.
listened to it yet, that was during what's called a fulvic soak.
Yeah.
So a guy over one of my other groups did a fulvic soak and he sent me video of the worms swimming in the water. So
No
these
way.
aren't worms that you're, not to be crass, but pooping out, which is, look, if you got to get rid of a worm, let's face it, that's the way to do it, right? These are worms that are coming out of like what, your pores? Yeah, no,
Well, that's
it's
the part I couldn't like get my
yeah.
head around. Like,
I get it. Mm.
No, I
yeah.
mean, people will do foot soaks and worms will come out of their feet.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I live on a farm and breed alpacas, and we've got animals like
Yeah.
everywhere, obviously.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, we worm them.
Yep.
And yeah, I always, as a kids, gave them the little chocolate wormers every school holidays. But it's a whole another level. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if I can get that stuff from America, or see
Yeah.
if I can get something
She
similar in Australia.
specifically said, she said the three
She did say
countries, yeah,
Australia.
said Australia,
Mm.
US, and probably UK, I would guess, but she said there were three
Canada.
countries,
I think it
Canada,
was Canada,
okay,
yeah.
were the three biggest. Yeah, so it
Mm.
wasn't in some, it's not
Because
like
I
they're
hate to think what my worm burden would be, because I'm with animals all the time. We got roos and foxes and
Do you? Yeah.
yeah, dogs and cats and
Yeah, I
everything
got
else. So
news, Karen. You are wormy. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, so I need to
Yeah.
do that. Definitely
Yeah.
need that one.
Yeah. 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 She was fun. I'm going to have her back on. I'll probably schedule that for sometime after the holidays to get her back on, my talk about my journey here. And there was a whole, after I finished recording the podcast episode, or I had like a dozen more questions I forgot to ask her. So I'll get her back on and we'll do a round two with her. She was fun. All righty, guys. All right. Well, if any questions, anything comes up, you guys hop in the forum. If not, I will see you back here. Let's see. Yep. Next week we are on. Same place, same time. All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kevin.